And what's going on, everybody? Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of PPP, the Pigskin Posse Podcast. As always, I'm Tim, and that's Ryan. Ryan, what's going on with you, my brother?
Man, chilling, dog. About yourself?
Same, chilling, working, busting ass, getting back adjusted to the two-job lifestyle and shit, same old, same old.
Same.
Yeah. And before we get started today, that's actually something I wanted to throw into the episode. Me and Ryan we both work two jobs. That's why it's been so hard to stay consistent with the podcast. And we also going into that season of, I guess you could say, downtime, to where, because the top, we mostly cover football, but we do talk other sports and stuff too. But with both of us working two jobs and trying to work fit into each other's schedule and making sure that we take notes, so whenever we do an episode, we make sure we know what we're talking about. We're not just coming up here putting a bunch of words together and sound like a bunch of fucking Skip Baylesses sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, have you read the news that Shannon was leaving Undisputed?
I mean, when he got the trip with the Tom Brady situation, I felt the shift in the show. Like the chemistry was off, and like they was almost forcing each other to like do the show because they had contractual obligations. But it definitely didn't have the same flair, because for the first couple of years, it actually seemed like those two really enjoyed debating sports with one another.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then he got into it about the Tom Brady thing. And that's when it went south for me personally. That's how I feel about it.
I feel the same way. I also feel like there was a lot of issues with, I think Shannon feels he does not feel included when it comes to picking topics or whatnot. Because there's been a few times where they've done a show and you can, like, when they move on to the next topic, you can kind of tell Shannon's like, bro, who the fuck comes up with this shit?
Like, why are we talking about this? Yeah, we talking about the Cowboys again.
Yeah. And like, I felt like that last year because after the season was over, it was almost like, bro, they didn't have nothing else to talk about. So they just kept talking about were the Lakers going to trade Russ, or was Brooklyn going to trade KD, and what was going to happen with Kyle? That storyline just kept getting, it was wash, dry, repeat. It's like, bro, we don't want to keep hearing this shit. And I mean, if we being honest, most of us, I'm not going to say everybody, but most of us watch Undisputed because of Shannon. So, yeah. I mean, I'm not one to like point fingers. I'm not one to point, put all the blame on somebody and point fingers. But I think in this situation, we can definitely say that Skip Bayless has about 75% of the blame for this one.
I mean, he part of the reason why the first take got fucking stale too.
Yeah.
I mean, then you could tell Stephen A. creatively, ESPN was like, no, you let Stephen A. pick some topics too, and then Skip said, "Fuck y'all, and take that bad with Fox." But it's gonna be really interesting. I think Club Shay Shay, he just got to 1 million subscribers, so he's starting to interview more people than just athletes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's taken off in a way. I think he already has his own platform. I think he could just talk about sports on Club Shay Shay, make another show, have some homies on there, or just have different athletes on there, kind of like pivot when they talk about stuff. So I'm going to be watching the Shannon Sharp situation very closely.
For sure. And I mean, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say this. Hey, Unc, we behind you. Wherever Shannon Sharp go, that's where the fuck we going. I don't care if it's with ESPN, NFL Network, or you rekindle the relationship with Fox Sports. I don't care. Wherever Shannon Sharp goes, that's where the fuck I'm going.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, before we talk before we talk football today, we have to go back and talk some basketball. I know everybody have noticed. I'm still wearing my Celtics shit. I don't give a fuck what happened. I'm always gonna be I'm not one of these fucking fair weather fans. When shit goes bad, I lead the team. No, I'm always gonna be a Celtics fan. And yes, I'm very fucking heartbroken at what the fuck happened to Game 7. But I'm not here to make excuses, man. We got to ass whoop. I'm not gonna sit up here. Oh, well, JT got hurt and this. We got to ass whoop. It should have never gotten. They should have never got a 3-0 on us. and put us in that situation to where we had to fight back, from being down 3-0. In game 7, we looked like shit. Shot too many fucking threes, depending on the refs a little too much. I mean, what else you want me to say?
I don't even blame y'all entirely. I mean, y'all should just go ahead and just bowed out and got swept like we did. But the referees played a good part. I mean, because like we could have won. Well, game 2, Murray just went the fuck off, but we could have won easily all those games. And then with that game 3, we was up 10 most of that fucking game. We was up 10 points, 12 points, and then we just gave it away at the end. But at least y'all made it to game 7. Okay? Our shit was up in 4 games. So, and Denver just got done spanking Miami. So,
yeah, I saw that right before we started doing the episode. I mean, look, man, all of us definitely would have loved to see a Boston and Lakers finals. I mean, come on, bro, the battle for 18. That Lakers versus Celtics, the battle for 18, the storylines that would have went along with that. Like, come on, dog. That would have been. I was praying for that, but I kind of got to disagree with you on the whole referee situation, because I feel like this is the first playoffs in a long time the refs have kind of let these teams play. I mean, Shannon said that you never got to break somebody's fucking arm to get a foul call. I've enjoyed it. Yeah, it sucks that my team, we didn't get, we couldn't get some of the foul calls that I was expecting us to get, but I kind of enjoy seeing it. The refs let them play and the better team prevailed, and in both series.
And what shocked the fuck out of me is JT didn't score a point in the fourth quarter to game 4.
Yeah.
That was an alarming stat. But I mean, Miami's overachieving right now. I certainly didn't have them beating the Bucks. Then once they beat the Bucks, I'm like, okay, Miami might do something. So it's a 7-game series. I don't think Miami can. They say a series doesn't start till the away team wins at home.
Right.
So till the away team wins. So I don't think Miami's going to do that. I think it could easily be 2-2. Or, what I'm saying, Denver drops game 3, wins game 4, goes back home to Denver, win game 5, world champs. This is the first time, and I want to say probably about 14 years, where I didn't hurry up find a TV for game 1 of the finals.
Yeah.
That's how disinterested I am in the finals this year.
I mean, that's something else I kind of got to agree with you on. I mean, I as a basketball fan, most of the time I don't usually watch. I don't have the time to keep up with basketball like I used to. But me personally, as a basketball fan, I'm intrigued by this series, because it's like this is the first time we don't have, like a LeBron, a Steph. Okay, it's kind of like the Phoenix and the Milwaukee series. It's like, put these two teams out there, may the best team win. Now, granted, it's not the finals that's gonna, for me, it keeps the casuals away. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Like, I love games and series like this, to where the people that don't know shit about the sport, they're tuning in for one person. I hate when they watch it, because they give a bunch of fucking dumbass inputs and opinions that really don't make sense. It's not based on facts. It's based on their personal opinions. You know what I mean? So it's like, the way I see it is, for all the people that say, "Oh, this finals is gonna be boring and whatnot," yada, don't watch it. Plain and simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, let these motherfuckers ball. But I agree with you. I think I'm conflicted, because I like seeing I love seeing players, and I love seeing teams get their first win. I'm not a fan of either of these teams. I like Jimmy. I got the utmost respect for Jimmy, but fuck Jimmy, because I mean, if we be honest, bro, yeah, we was a 3-point shot away from them knocking us out last year. And Jimmy has balled in the finals, but I don't know. I think his luck is gonna run out versus Denver. And I mean, it's good to see Denver finally get to this point. Because I mean, if I remember correctly, has there been numerous times where Denver's been like the NBA's leading like number one offense in the league, for I want to say the past 15 years.
Nah, I wouldn't say 15, but like definitely the last 3 to 4 years, they've been top 5 in offensive categories, efficiency, points, all that assists, all that good stuff. I mean, that's called a spade. Denver's a complete team. They play team ball. They play basketball the right way. They got an MVP caliber player, former two-time MVP in Jokic, and then they have a pretty damn good guard, Jamal Murray, that when Jokic starts getting a tad bit older, it can take over and possibly sneak an MVP. So this is a great ball team. They were number one in the West for a reason.
Yeah.
I think everybody just wrote them off because nobody takes Jokic seriously. But I mean, he's the second player to ever debut in the NBA Finals and get a triple double.
Right.
Like some of the shit he's doing is like all time great shit. And like if his career ended today, he'd be a Hall of Famer.
For sure. I'm not gonna argue with you on that one. Going back to Denver, I mean, I agree with everything you said. I mean, once again, it's good to see them get to the finals because I mean, there was a couple times that Denver almost got there. They couldn't get through. They couldn't get through LeBron. And then I think Kobe and Carmelo back in like the mid 2000s, they had some of the most legendary playoff battles, and Denver was right there. But we talking about Mamba just walked their ass down. So I mean, I'm happy for the city. I'm happy for the city of Denver to finally get to this point. And I mean, props to Jimmy and the Miami Heat for everything that they've accomplished this season, along with the playoffs. But yeah, I definitely think the road stops here. I'm going Denver in 6. No, Denver in 5. Denver in 5.
I would like to see Miami win 2 games, but I can't see it. I can't see it. But for shits and giggles, I say Denver in 6.
I want to say 6, but I think Miami gets 1. I think, Jimmy, I think he has his work cut out for him in this series. I mean, Aaron Gordon, and props to Aaron Gordon because he's played the fuck out of his role is to guard the best player on every team that he's played throughout the course of the playoffs.
I mean, but damn, that motherfucker is 6'10". He's athletic. It's not like he just like Kevin Love is just 6'10".
Yeah.
Okay, like Larry Bird was just 6'10". You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker can jump, shoot threes, play defense. He can arguably defend all 5 positions. So, but like him producing, I mean, like, yeah, the career resurgence for him. Because in Orlando, he was just soft Blake Griffin.
Pretty much, for lack of better words.
For real, like he got a couple All-Stars. It's like, it's because he was averaging 20 and 11. Let's go ahead and give it to you. But now he has a role. He's playing his role. He understands his role, and hats off to him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he ain't been gifted no easy tasks, especially that last series when he pretty much had to guard LeBron the entire series, and I mean he's played the fuck out of his role and alongside everybody else. It's been, I'm pretty sure it's established at the beginning of the playoffs. Jokic and Murray are gonna be the main ball handlers. They are gonna be the top scorers. Everybody else just fucking defend. Make everybody stop that star player. Make every fucking body else beat you. And I think they've done a pretty good job of doing that. And that's what I think they're gonna do to Jimmy, in this series. And I mean, what more can I say? Hats off to Jimmy, man. Hats off to Jimmy, and again, congratulations. Hats off to Eric Spoelstra and the fucking Miami Heat for what they've been able to do with a bunch of these. Who the fuck are these people? Like, where does Miami find these fucking guys? I'm just saying, dog.
Some undrafted dudes that didn't nobody want. Dude that showed up big time in Game 7. He got cut by the Hornets in 2021. Then Miami gave him a tryout, made the team. So I mean, like, then that's Pat Riley. That's all that is. That's Pat Riley. Pat Riley sees shit in players that other coaches don't, which is why Showtime Lakers were so successful.
Right.
Back in the 80s.
I agree.
So shout out to Pat Riley. He has been involved in what they said 24% of the NBA finals.
Yeah.
Rather as a coach or an executive. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy.
You talking about somebody that got the juice. He got the juice. He got the motherfucking secret. Like whenever he does step down or whatever, I think he's gonna have some type of involvement in the NBA front office. I feel like whenever he's like done, whenever he's done managing and all that shit, and he just want to kick back and chill. I think he's gonna have some type of involvement in the NBA front office.
You talking about the overall NBA?
Yeah, not just the Heat, but I'm talking about the overall NBA.
Nah, homeboy he got some ownership in the Heat. Plus, it's nice in Miami. He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think so.
It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me. Let's go ahead and transfer over to what we know best. Some motherfucking pigskin, my brother.
Yes.
So in big time news in the NFL in the past week or whatever, of course, the Cardinals went ahead and released DeAndre Hopkins. This was news to me. At this point, I just feel like I don't know what the fuck is going on. I think they tanking for Caleb Williams. That's what it seemed like to me. I could be wrong.
Bro, it's 5. It's 5. We could probably argue it's 7 to 10 teams is doing that right now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, at this point, I think the Cardinals are the biggest. I think with all the moves they're making, because they talking about trading Buda Baker. They also talking about trading Isaiah Simmons. It looked to me they in full fucking tank mode, because Kyler's he's coming back he's going to be coming back from the injury I think midway through the season, and I think at this point with them trading away his best weapon, Kyler ain't fucking coming back next season. I don't see it.
Who was he throwing to? Shit, who the fuck was he throwing to when DeAndre was suspended?
Marquise Hollywood was there, but
Marquise and motherfuckers Kyler shorter than Kyler.
True. But with this, with them releasing D-Hop, where do you see D-Hop ending up? I mean, of course, the favorites is when I was looking at it the other day, the favorites is the Chiefs, the Patriots, the Ravens, and the Bills. I mean, the Chiefs are obviously probably the ones that jump out the most, but let's not forget the Patriots had Bill O'Brien, who was his offensive coordinator and his head coach back in Houston. And then, of course, in Baltimore, I mean, I could see he did voice his, he did express his desire to play with Lamar.
He left Bama?
Who?
Bill O'Brien.
No, but keep in mind, Bill O'Brien was the head coach and offensive coordinator in Houston.
I know, but I thought he was the offensive coordinator at Alabama.
No, he did. He left Alabama, and he's with Bill Belichick now with the Patriots.
Yep. Coached won a national championship. Well, got to a national championship. Coached the Heisman winner. NFL kept calling. There's no spot for him in the NFL. 2-3 years in college, right back.
Well, I mean, you got to think of what the fuck he did with that Houston team, trying to be the GM and the head coach, fucking offensive. He's just trying to do too much. I think he bit off more than he could chew in that situation.
I mean, that's just the owner have a blind faith in the coach. But like when you rocking with your guy, you're gonna mess with him. But if I had to, I mean, right now, anybody, I totally believe DeAndre right now is shopping himself. He's been shopping himself.
Mm-hmm.
We can go back to when he was on Des Bryant's podcast and what's up, Dallas? Her job and that asking about me. Well, nobody asks about you, motherfucker. Okay? Well, nobody checking for DeAndre Hopkins. Not saying that he couldn't be the guy, but you getting up there in age, and plus you asking for all this money. It would be crazy to see him on the Chiefs. It would be crazy to see him on the Jets. It would be crazy to see him. He ain't going to Vegas. He ain't going.
Fuck no.
The Bills, that'd be a nice. I mean, they'll have 3 legit receivers now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And shit, DeAndre can play the slot. Freak it. He get double team Diggs, and then the other brother's name, I forgot his name.
Gabe Davis.
So he's going to the contender. He's shopping himself right now, and then we have a whole bunch of time. So Probably about end of this month, right after the 4th of July, we'll hear something about D-Hop and where he's going.
I mean, all the teams that's looking at him, the biggest issues is, I know with the Bills, the Ravens, with the Bills and the Chiefs, it's obvious. I think they're cash strapped. I mean, of course, the Chiefs, Mahomes is not asking to be paid. He threw that out there that, he kind of want to take the Tom Brady route. He preferred to, put talent around him so he can continue to keep winning and, getting these championships. And I can't really blame him. I mean, with everything that he's been able to do in Kansas City, shit, I will ride that shit until it fucking fall off. But the issue, like, with the Bills, I can see him. I can see him with the Bills. Putting him with Josh Allen. I mean, we saw what Stephon Diggs was able to do for Josh Allen's career, giving him another, dominant wide receiver one. I think that's enough to put the Bills over the hump.
For each other.
Yeah.
For each other, because Wyoming was the only school that saw Josh as a quarterback.
Yeah.
And then they was trying to write Diggs off like he's still a bad guy for the locker room, and all that good stuff. And then now, boom.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of schools kicking themselves in the ass for not fucking, or, even teams are kicking themselves in the ass for not giving Josh Allen a chance. But, that makes for a whole nother story. Here's the thing with the Ravens. I mean, could I see him with the Ravens? Yes, but at the same point in time, it's like, all right, they now have somewhat of what they now have a crowded wide receiver room. I mean, you got OBJ there, and I don't think OBJ is gonna go back to being, especially coming off two knee surgeries. Same knee. And, OBJ's up there in age too. So I don't really think we see OBJ getting back to, the wide receiver he once was. And I think that's why he's still, getting talked about like that. And that's no disrespect to him. I don't think he's OBJ anymore. And, they did draft the rookie Zay Flowers. I think he's going to have a pretty decent season. They also, you got Rashad Bateman there last year, which he was having a damn good season before he got fucking hurt. And, with them bringing the Georgia offensive coordinator from Georgia in last year, they could be running a whole new personnel. I mean, I can't see a more pass heavy offense in Baltimore. And I think if you give them D-Hop, that just puts them over the edge. With the Patriots, I just don't see it happening. I mean, D-Hop ain't gonna want to put up with that shit. Let's be honest, bro. Let's be honest. I don't see D-Hop going up there allowing himself to get cussed the fuck out all the time. It was surprising to see Juju go there to begin with. But D-Hop and Bill Belichick, come on, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think coaching wise, I think D-Hop could use that type of coaching, but at the same time, like, he ain't going there. That shit, it's been thrown out there that shit is ran like a fucking military base in New England. It's just not happening. I mean, go ahead.
No, you got it.
I mean, I think if we being honest, just the Chiefs seem like the perfect fucking fit. I mean, they don't have a wide receiver. There's nobody on that. You can argue Kadarius Toney, but outside of the play, I mean, if it wasn't for Pat Mahomes surviving his career, nobody was fucking talking about Kadarius Toney last year. Then they drafted that dude Rashee Rice from SMU. So, I mean, come on, man. If them signing Kadarius Toney changes the entire fucking complex of this offense. But the team that I think everybody should be on the lookout for that nobody's talking about, and I think they're the only team that probably has the cap space to do this shit, is fucking Cleveland. Deshaun Watson, back with DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, come on now, man. Come on now. D-Hop, Amari Cooper, Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, David Njoku. Come on, dog. Come on, man. That's the recipe for fireworks. Me.
That would be awesome to see. But like also, I kind of need it. I need an NFC team besides the Eagles that got the juice, man.
Yeah. I mean, the NFC is wide. This year, the NFC is wide the fuck open.
Yeah.
Outside of the Eagles, I mean, the Eagles are obviously going to be the favorite to, go back to the Super Bowl next year, win it all. But outside of the Eagles, like, the NFC is wide open this year. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is no longer all the talent, all the competition is now in the AFC. The AFC has now become the premier division. Everybody's trying to get the fuck away from over. I'm not gonna say get the fuck away from over there, but it's just that it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a year, boy. It is going to be a year for sure.
I mean, shit, you saw when Kyler was yelling on the sideline, D-Hop was like, who's this little nigga talking to, bro? I beat the shit at you, boy. Yeah. That's how he was looking. But he's shopping himself. But I think this might be a classic situation where he asked for too much money and he got to quietly go back to Arizona. Like, I'm sorry, y'all.
I don't know. I mean, he didn't ask to be released. I think Arizona released him. I mean, I think
it was some shit he was doing behind the scenes.
I think him going on I Am Athlete and like talking about all the quarterbacks that he wanted to play with, I think was kind of their last straw. It's just like, all right, look, we're not trying to deal with that shit here. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Kyler's our fucking guy. I mean, like they played Kyler.
Yeah.
They stuck with that nigga at least another 2 years. So.
2 years for sure. Depending on, I don't think he's gonna have a good year next year. And I mean that ain't saying much because I don't think the NFC West is gonna be much to look at next year. So, the sky's the limit. Just say that much.
Yep.
So the topic of the football topic this week is going to be the NFC South. For those of y'all that's not familiar with the NFC South, that is the Buccaneers, the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Saints. Each one of these teams actually finished under 500 last year. And I like going through my notes and everything that I'm looking at. I honestly feel like that this division could be the NFC East of this year. Because if you remember, the NFC East was never really exciting to watch. I feel like this year, once we get the jumping off into it, you'll understand more where I'm coming from. Like there's a lot of shit that's gonna jump out at you.
Mm-hmm. We got Bryce from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be interesting. We got Derek Carr.
Yep.
He's in the Saints uniform.
Yep.
Team that's tanking is Tampa Bay. They don't have a quarterback. It's gonna be real ugly.
Actually, I'm glad you said that because that's gonna be the first team we talk about. Tampa Bay Buccaneers finished 8-9 last year, made the playoffs by just process of elimination, pretty much because Tom was there and the NFC South was just fucking ass last year. But their key departures, of course, Tom Brady returned. Their quarterback, Tom Brady, he retires. Byron Leftwich, Byron Leftwich was fired. Totally don't think that shit was his fault. They lose Shaq Mason on the offensive line. They lose their running back, Leonard Fournette, which that was inevitable because his ass came in completely overweight last year. They lose tight end Cameron Brate. They also lose offensive lineman Donovan Smith. Key additions they brought in the offseason. Of course, they signed Baker Mayfield as a QB. They brought in Chase Edmonds as another running back. Greg Gaines on the defensive line. They re-signed Levante. They pretty much kept the defense intact. They re-signed Levante David. They signed Anthony Nelson, re-signed Jamel Dean, Aaron Stinney, and of course they drafted Kalia Kancey. I'm guessing, I don't know if they're trying to push Vita Vea out the door or they just feel like he's not that guy anymore. And they brought in Dave Canellis as their offensive coordinator. He was in, and this is why I say. Now, I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield's going to fucking set the league on fire next year, but I feel like, honestly, he couldn't be put in a better situation because Dave, I don't know how to say it's like Canellis or Canellis. Let's keep in mind, he's been the Seahawks QB coach, the pass game coordinator, the Seahawks QB coach and pass game coordinator the last, I want to say 10, 12 years in Seattle. And this is the years that Russ was throwing that motherfucker. I'm talking about when he was coming out, throwing for 2,500 yards and 20 touchdowns for the first 10 weeks of the season. So, and then you still got Mike Evans is still there, Russell Gage is still there, Chris Godwin is still there. Their weapons on offense is still there. So, I definitely think this Bucs team is not going to be as bad as everybody thinks it is, and I think Baker Mayfield is in a really good spot. I don't think he could have fell into a good spot, but only time will tell. But I mean, I think the Buccaneers is going to be a lot better than people think. What's your take on this team, bro?
They're gonna be ass.
He said straight to the point. They're gonna be.
They're gonna be ass. Look. If there's anybody that wants Baker to be successful, right, obviously it's me. But at the same time, I don't know maybe this might be the right offensive system for him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like any of the other fucking quarterbacks they got on that team. They know better. So I mean,
Fucking
if
Kyle
Baker,
Trask.
what they got, what they got, but if he can get them to the playoff, if he can get to a wild card, then it's a win for him. And just like you said, they do still got a good majority of their weapons. Can they develop a running game? How's the offensive line going to be? Can they defense play with that same intensity it did with Tom Brady? Can that coach get a grip of this team? There's a lot of questions I have, but they won't get an answer to the seasons. But is it possible? Sure. Is it going to happen? No, probably not. No.
Fair enough. I can respect that. I mean, like I said, I'm not expecting the Buccaneers, and I'm damn sure not expecting Baker Mayfield to be fucking Tom Brady. I mean, I'd be talking outside of my fucking ass if I say that shit. But yeah, I mean, I think Baker Mayfield will have a much better year than people expecting. I think he'll work his way into like a Geno Smith type deal with this team or maybe another team. So, I mean, it'd be exciting to see what the future holds for this team. The player I'm looking forward to watching the most is second-year running back Rachaad White. He really came on towards the end of the season last year. So, hey, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. And Baker, as a part-time Oklahoma fan, Ryan being a full-time Oklahoma fan, we hope you can get this shit together. And I think, and that's another thing too, with the spotlight not really being on him. You know what I'm saying? Him not doing all them fucking commercials, and they can't talk about that shit no more. I think I just feel like he's in a really good spot with, especially with what he was able to do with the Rams at the second half of the season last year.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, shit, man. When he won that game, not even 2 days being there, went out there, just caused some shit, and that was the game-winning pass. Hey, go run the go route. And that was the game-winning touchdown. Like, he deserves to be in this league.
I mean, you saw what happened when they put him with an offensive-minded head coach who likes to throw the fucking ball.
I just think that I just think he got a kind of a bad rap. I mean, he was kind of cocky, but some players need to be like that to play.
Mm-hmm.
They were just trying to Johnny Manziel him, and then he didn't help himself with his attitude. When Freddie Roach was there, and
Freddie
Kitchens, my bad. I don't know why I said Roach.
You good?
And then when they had the black coach there, but I think he kind of shot himself in the foot with his attitude.
Yeah.
But maybe now, like you said, maybe now that there's no expectation, he could build something on this. So I really want Baker to be successful.
Same here. And like I said, sky's the limit, and wish him the best of luck next season. I'm not a butler. Let's be honest. Tom Brady's not there, so don't nobody give a fuck. Ain't nobody talking about the Bucs next year. Nobody's fucking talking about the Bucs next year at all.
Nope.
Moving on to a team that will be talked about quite a bit next year due to them, bringing in a rookie quarterback. The Panthers at 7-10 last year. No secret. They didn't really lose anybody from last season. I mean, they lost Christian McCaffrey, but that was mid-season. That was mid-season last year. I mean, we ain't even talk about that. We saw what the fuck happened. He went to the 49ers and went the fuck off. Still think if they had a quarterback, they would have put up a better fight against the Eagles. But that makes for another conversation. But of course, Matt Rule was he was fired. I guess that's their biggest departure. And then the key additions. Go ahead, Ryan. What was you finna say?
Why in the world did he take the Nebraska job? If that don't work, he done, bro.
I mean, they really trying to, they're trying to push Nebraska back to being, at the top of the fucking college football, food chain, especially with all this NIL shit going on, because Nebraska is another one of those like historic colleges. But I mean, let's cut the bullshit. They ain't been shit since they left the fucking Big 12. It's just being honest. They ain't been shit since they left the Big 12.
Curse of Scott Frost ruined our season, but anyway.
True. Except the Panthers, they hired Frank Reich at the head coaching position. They also brought in They hired the Broncos defensive coordinator from last year, which I mean, if y'all remember, what's his name, Ejiro Evero. If y'all remember, the Broncos defense was crazy last year. Their offense just wasn't no good. Defense was just always on the fucking field. But yeah, they did bring in the Broncos defensive coordinator from last year, and the Panthers also they had a pretty decent defense last year. But once again, offense was trash on the fucking field too long. They bring in Hayden Hurst as another tight end on that offense. That's another weapon for Bryce Young to throw to. Speaking of Bryce Young, number 1 overall draft pick. They also brought in DJ Chark. He had 1,000-yard season in Jacksonville. Another big body for Bryce to throw to. They bring in Eric Rowe to buff up the defensive backfield. Brought in Adam Thielen from the Vikings on a trade. They signed Miles Sanders to a 3-year deal. Brought in Andy Dalton, which I'm about 100% sure he's going to start the season as a backup because I know they're going to be trying to push Bryce to start. They brought in another in this year's draft. They brought in another SEC wide receiver, Jonathan Mingo. I'm pretty sure Bryce has some type of familiarity with this dude, especially being in the SEC. They also hired Thomas Brown as their offensive coordinator, who spent a couple years as the Rams running back coach. So I think the biggest issue with this team is going to be establishing their identity, whether they're going to be a run team or a throwing team with Frank Reich as head coach, which I love this hire. It's a good fit for him, rookie QB. And we saw what he was able to do for Carson Wentz that first year that Carson Wentz was in Philadelphia. He was the offensive coordinator. We saw he kind of, what he was able to do for Phillip Rivers last year of his career. He did give Carson Wentz had a little bit of a spark with Indy, but I don't think Carson Wentz got it anymore. I just don't. But
mentally, no.
Yeah. I think Bryce Young is in a good situation. They had the head coach established whenever he got there. Frank Reich is I think he's gonna have some fun with Bryce. I definitely think so. I think Bryce is gonna be, molded into one of the, next transcendent throwers of the football in the NFL within the next 4 to 5 years. So it'll be interesting, man. But what do you think of this team for the upcoming season?
Growing pains with rookie quarterback. So, they ceiling might be 7-10 again or 8-9, somewhere around there. What I'm curious to see is how Bryce is going to handle that NFL pass rush.
Yeah.
All the typical stuff. The NFL pace and speed. Can he read defenses? All that good stuff. But, the checkdowns he made in college and some throws he made in college, I'm willing to bet he'll be all right. But it is trickery with these defensive coordinators. They'll show you one look, you'll hike the ball, and then something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's going to be a blitz, and then they all drop back in coverage, and then that pass that would have been open, that blitz is now an interception. So, rookie pains, year one with your new franchise toy quarterback.
A team that's going through a complete rebuild. I mean, this is another team. We don't have any expectations for this team. So, I think it's, like you said, growing pains. I think it's going to be because they don't have a whole lot of expectations. I think it's going to be a lot of shit that they're going to be trying, seeing what they can and can't do. I mean, I definitely, they got a guy that, played in the Super Bowl last year with Miles Sanders and, Adam Thielen, who's, he's a, good veteran wide receiver to help with the wide receiver room. I think my biggest issue with Bryce is his fucking height. Like, is he gonna? I don't know if you saw that video on Twitter when them fucking offensive linemen stood up and Bryce took he looked like a fucking midget, boy.
They dogged my dude Kyler out and he was balling that 1 year. So.
And I mean, keep in mind, this the NFL, man. You got pass rushers that run fucking 4.4s and 4.3s and 4.4s. So Bryce, you better learn how to slide, bro. Learn how to slide and fall the fuck down. Get
out of bounds. Yes.
Watch a lot of Tom Brady tape. He'll teach you how to fall the fuck down. That's how he was able to stay in the fucking NFL for 20 goddamn years.
Yes, sir. Some Eli and Peyton Manning tape. Yep. They fall down real quick. Oh God, no.
But yeah, I mean, no expectations for this team. I think, another 7-10 season, another, 8-9. maybe 2-3 years. We talking about this team making the playoffs, but it's a long way. It's a long season, long fucking season. So ain't no telling what's gonna happen.
It ain't happening.
It's not happening. It's just not happening. For me, it's been fuck Carolina since they did Cam the way that they did him. So, I like Bryce, but at the same time, I can give a fuck about Carolina.
Not taking a chance. Another Heisman winning quarterback from Alabama. Interesting.
True. Moving on to one of the teams that I think are the most intriguing, and I think is going to be the sleeper team in the NFC. I'm not saying they're going to dog everybody, but I definitely think this team is going to make some noise next year. Moving on to the Atlanta Falcons, they went 7-2 the previous year. Key departures with this team, of course, Marcus Mariota, no longer the QB, and Casey Hayward, defensive back. Looking at this shit, the key additions. With all the additions that this team made, I definitely think this team is going to be a lot better than people think they are. But they went out and signed Lorenzo Carter. Wake your motherfucking ass. But they went out and signed Lorenzo Carter, linebacker. They went out and signed Chris Lindstrom to help bolster the offensive line. They made a trade with New England to get Jonnu Smith at tight end. They signed Jesse Bates, who was the Bengals' former safety. They're bringing in Taylor Heineke. I'm pretty sure as a backup to help. I'm not gonna say to help develop what's his name, Desmond Ridder, but they're gonna be competing for the offensive job. They also brought in David Onyemata to help bolster the offensive line. He was a pretty good defensive lineman with the Saints. They brought in Mike Hughes at corner, Scotty Miller at wide receiver. They brought in Calais Campbell at defensive end. They make a trade with the Lions to bring in Jeff Okudah at cornerback. They signed somebody I wanted the fucking Steelers to sign. They brought in Bud Dupree at linebacker. They also brought in Trey Flowers, and I think their biggest move of the offseason was bringing in Bijan Robinson at running back.
Damn, they got one of my boys. Damn.
Yes, they got Bijan Robinson at running back. And, I mean, when you look at all the additions on this team.
Fuck Bijan. I'm talking about Trey Flowers, man.
Yep. He is now an Atlanta Falcon.
They picked them two niggas up from Baltimore quick.
Yeah. Come on. Bring that ass here, boy.
Dirty bird.
But I'm going to go first on this one because when you look at all the additions on this team, what has been the Falcons' area of concern the last 4 or 5 years, pretty much since the 28-3 collapse? What has been the Falcons' biggest area of concern in your eyes?
Quarterback.
No, not the quarterback. I went because Matt Ryan was still there a couple years after that.
I remember Matt Ryan wasn't okay. He wasn't MVP that year.
Yeah,
people forget
that year.
He wasn't MVP that year, and up until something happened to him after that Super Bowl because
the Super Bowl itself.
Yeah, he turned to shit.
Turned to a pumpkin.
He turned to shit. Well, I mean, I guess they're paying me. I guess I gotta go out and play. I really don't care. Fuck it. I don't know, but they defensive line has disappeared. Their secondary has disappeared. Their offensive line has disappeared. They always get decent skill players, but they'll make plays, but you really don't get an opportunity to see what they're doing because there's a whole bunch of 3 and outs. So. But the biggest thing I would say is quarterback for me, quarterback.
I say it's always been the defense. I mean, we've never talked about Atlanta really ever having a defense. Ever since that 28-3 lead, year in and year out, their defense has gotten progressively fucking worse. Defense has been at the bottom the last couple of years. So with them bringing in a Calais Campbell, a Jeff Okudah, Mike Hughes, Trey Flowers, Bud Dupree, I think the defense is going to be a lot better than than people think they are. So. I'm not a Falcons fan, but I'm definitely looking forward to the Falcons. But going back to what you were saying about Matt Ryan, I think the offensive coordinator situation had a lot to do with that. Because you got to think when they had Kyle Shanahan, they was scoring 25+ points a game. After that 28-3 lead, Kyle Shanahan leaves, they bring in fucking Steve Sarkisian, and I don't understand how you inherit such a talented offensive group and you can't do nothing with it.
Because he's not a coach, dude. I mean, He got all that cute shit off of Alabama because he has the best players in the fucking country.
Right.
Then he get all that cute shit off at Texas because he has some of the best players in the fucking country. Now this is an NFL team. This is what we got. Coach
it. Well, that's pretty much what it seemed like. But I mean, they had they had what's his name, Steve Sarkisian, the offensive coordinator, right after that, and that was literally right after the Super Bowl year. After they dismiss him as offensive coordinator. I don't know if they dismiss him or he decides to leave to take the Alabama job. But after he leaves, they bring in Dirk Koetter, and that shit just didn't fucking work out. I ultimately think he was the cause of fucking Matt Ryan just hitting a fucking wall. But I mean, the defense has just always been an area of concern. So when you look at all the additions they made on the defense, and then piggybacking off of what they did, what that team did last year, I think this team is headed for a turn in the right direction. Because I mean, like I said in the previous episode, at some point in the season last year, we was talking about Atlanta possibly being a playoff team. They were on the Bucs' heels last year. If Marcus Mariota kept that team afloat, they was able to, find success in the running game, which is why I love the fit for Bijan Robinson. I feel like they're going to be predominantly a running team next year. So I'm just saying, look out for the Falcons next year. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl or anything like that, but I can see this team making some noise if I'm being quite honest.
6-12.
Hey. I mean,
man, ain't got no fucking quarterback. You got a second-year quarterback who didn't fucking play last year, and when he did get in, really wasn't looking good. And if you make Marcus Mariota look like he belongs in the NFL, that's a bad sign.
Hey.
I mean,
and that was Taylor
the biggest. Heineke,
yeah.
I mean, he's a winner. 2 years ago at Washington.
Yeah, damn near beat the Bucs. Damn near, almost beat the Bucs.
Mm-hmm.
That was the biggest head scratcher for me. It's like, y'all, you mean to tell me y'all not drafting a quarterback, not signing a quarterback, and a predominant quarterback in the offseason? You really mean to tell me y'all going with Desmond Ridder and fucking Taylor Heineke at quarterback? That's what the fuck y'all telling me?
Well, then they drafted that guy. I mean, I don't know why you let Marcus Mariota go. He balled out for you.
Because he pretty much, when they decided to, see what I understood why he left. It's like, bro, I got y'all. We in the playoff hunt. We have a chance to make the playoffs. Why the fuck? What y'all have done, what y'all have allowed me to do in this offense, it fucking works. Why are we making a change at quarterback? So I understand where he's coming from. I understand where where he was coming from, but he just said, fuck it. You know what I mean? I think he saw that they were moving towards, they were going younger. They were going with Desmond Ridder. I think that's what they wanted to do in the beginning. So he just said, fuck it. Like, what's the point of me sitting here? So he left the team. He quit on him.
That shit would have broke Desmond Ridder. It would have killed his confidence.
Yeah, I get that too.
And you don't want a young QB with his confidence fucked up. We can go out there and look like Mark Bolger.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that happen with fucking Carson Wentz. We've seen it happen with RG3. I mean, we kind of saw it happen with Baker. I mean, like I say, he was able to, revive himself with what he was able to do second half of the season. Who else have we seen this shit with? Probably Trey Lance. I feel bad for that dude, but it is what it is.
I mean, I only played. Okay, before COVID happened, he had one season. And then he played one game, and COVID happened. Then he played in a couple NFL games, got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he got drafted basically off of potential.
Yeah.
And much. Then the last motherfucker to get drafted in the draft balls the fuck out.
Yeah.
I mean, getting drafted to the NFL is a win.
Yeah, for sure.
That's something a lot of people don't get to say.
I mean, you can say, I don't know how many players are playing in the NFL. And I mean, we sit up here as fans, we talk shit. We have the right to have opinions as fans, but it's like we do understand that these motherfuckers are playing at the highest level, a level that not a lot of people will ever be able to see. It don't matter how bad they played in the NFL, but they made it to the NFL. So you can say what the fuck you want, but they have, they can say, even if there was a bust, you can say what you want about Ryan Leaf or Jamarcus Russell. They played in the NFL. So I'm just, they was, they at one point they were good enough to play in the NFL. So they hold that title, whether we like it or not. Plain and simple. Moving on to another team that is pretty intriguing to me. The New Orleans Saints, who were 7-10 last season. They didn't really have any key departures, but they did sign Derek Carr, which I think I'm gonna let me get into the rest of these additions. But they did sign Derek Carr, Ugo Amadi at safety. They signed Jamal Williams at running back, which I think huge addition. Nathan Shepard at defensive tackle, Kalen Saunders at defensive tackle, Ty Summers at linebacker, Lonnie Johnson Jr. at defensive back, and Jonathan Abrams at safety. And then they went out and drafted Kendry Miller at running back. Now, going back to the Jamal Williams and the Kendry Miller draft pick and the Jamal Williams pickup, I think that's huge. That's real big because we saw what Jamal Williams was able to do in Detroit last year. Had a monster fucking year. We don't know what's going to happen with this Alvin Kamara situation. I mean, the suspension has been looming for about a year now. So I think them going out and getting Jamal Williams I think that's just a precautionary pickup in case they decide to hit Alvin Kamara with that full season suspension, and also going out and getting, the running back Kendry Miller, which we saw what he was able to do at TCU last year. So I definitely I like that. I like their pickups in the offseason. And then of course, Derek Carr. Hey, look, y'all can say what the fuck y'all want about Derek Carr. I didn't think he was put in the greatest situation last year with fucking Josh McDaniels. Now you send him to New Orleans. Let's not forget Jarvis Landry's down there. We saw what Chris Olave was able to do. I still think Michael Thomas has a little bit left in the fucking tank. And I mean, if he can get it going, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, and Chris Olave, I think we can see the Saints right back at the top of the division and right back in the playoffs next year. But this is what I want to say about Michael Thomas. Look, I understand people get injured, and I understand that injuries are serious, but I don't think he was as hurt as he made it out to be. I think it was more so of, I don't like my QB situation. I don't like what the fuck we got going on at QB, so I'm just not fucking playing. That's how I feel.
And then it was some organizational shit because he was supposed to get his surgery in like April. He didn't get that shit till like June.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like you said, I think he did that because he didn't like his quarterback situation.
Yeah. And I mean, I still don't necessarily like how they did Jameis, but it wasn't like Jameis was really playing all that well. So, I mean, I understand why they did it, but you got to give him a better. You had to give him a better opportunity to try and prove himself. I thought that shit was foul.
I honestly didn't think Jameis did a whole bad job.
I didn't think so either. I mean, he didn't do a terrible job, but he didn't do a great job either. That's how I look at that.
Until he tore his ACL, they were winning.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, what do you make of this team and with the additions they made in the offseason?
I think Derek Carr is the quarterback that fits with because the head coach is, was a former offensive coordinator of the Saints back when Sean Payton was there.
The defensive coordinator. He was the D coordinator.
He was a defensive coordinator?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What the fuck is his name? So I'm tipping my tongue. Can't get it. Dennis Allen. He was the defensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator is still there though. Like he ain't went nowhere. I forgot. Okay. I think it's Doug Marrone. Not Doug. I forgot who their offensive coordinator. His name. But yeah, the defense. Dennis Allen, defensive coordinator. He's the head coach. But my bad. Go ahead.
Well, I was partially right. So I think Derek Carr fits the mold of what he wants his offensive scheme to be. It's one of those systems where you still need a drop back pro style quarterback who make his reads and throw. Can he make those quick throws like Drew Brees did? Yes. Can he be as accurate as Drew Brees? But it's not like Derek Carr is a scrub because we are talking about a player who should have won against the team that went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This 2 years prior. So Derek Carr is not a bad quarterback. I think a fresh start is what he needs. And the sky's the limit. He does have weapons. He does have a decent offensive line. If Alvin doesn't get suspended, he does have a running back. So it's promising. The defense, Saints defense has always been decent.
Yeah.
Just not when you need them the most.
But
yeah.
I agree with you. I think Derek Carr's gonna have a monster fucking season, especially if Michael Thomas can come back healthy. Like I said, I definitely think New Orleans is gonna be a playoff team. I think Derek Carr makes the Pro Bowl. I'm not putting him up there in like MVP talks or anything like that, but the Jamal Williams pickup with them not knowing what's gonna go on with Alvin Kamara, then you got Kendry Miller. I think the offense is going to be explosive once again. And I mean, the one thing Derek Carr can do that Drew Brees couldn't do to his last couple of years is Derek Carr can throw the ball down. Like Drew Brees, the last he wasn't able to he wasn't able to throw that motherfucker 30, 40 yards like he once was. And Derek Carr can do that. So, I think this offense is going to be very explosive. I think they get back to what they were whenever Drew Brees was there. I can see like a 11-6 season, 10-7, something like. I definitely think they have a winning season. I think the defense is, what they've always been. At top 10 defense, pass defense is always top notch. So I definitely think the Saints have made all the right moves to, put them back to where they need to be, to put them back atop at the NFC, especially at the NFC South next year. So it'll be interesting, and I'm looking forward to watching this team, man. I'm definitely, this is one of the teams that I'm looking forward to watching this whole division. I'm being honest. Like I don't give a fuck about either one of these teams, but as a football fan, I definitely think this team and this division, all four of these teams, the NFC South, I think they're gonna be a very fun division to watch next. They're gonna be a real fun division to watch next year. I think they're gonna be the NFC East of 2023. That's my pick. That's what I'm saying. I could be wrong.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's my outlook for the 2023 season.
All right. Okay. Overall, all these teams are probably gonna suck. The Saints just might be the one that wins the division and goes to the playoffs.
Yep.
That's simple.
I can see
that's simple.
They're the team that jump out at you the most, especially when you plug and play Derek Carr. I definitely think they're the team that jump out at you the most in this division. But only time will tell, and we shall see.
There's a lot of veterans on this team, and they're not too old.
No.
They're
still a middle of the pack type of team.
Right. Some of these players are still somewhere in their prime.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So,
for sure.
Yep. Yeah.
And other big news, before we get out of here, we got to transition. The fight we've been waiting on has finally been fucking announced. Terrence Bud Crawford, and Errol Spence. Thank God. Thank you, fight gods. Me and Ryan been calling on this fight for the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's finally happening. It's finally here.
COVID fucked it up.
Yeah. What is it? July 19th, July 9th, something like that. 29th. Yep, you're right. 29th. That's actually gonna be the same day as UFC 291. That's gonna be a good night. That's gonna be a good night, a good day. But maybe a little too early to pick. But who you got winning this fight, man?
I'm going Bud, bro. Like I think Errol Spence might be a more. He sets his punches up better, but I think Bud is more accurate and has more power.
Yeah.
Does he take too many punches? Yes, but it's like we've been in a fight before where it's like, okay, this motherfucker cannot he can't hurt me.
Right.
So it's like okay, so like once he gets past that filling out process, I think he'll start picking them off. Or once Errol lands a shot that Bud doesn't like too much, okay, now you made me mad, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Right.
So
right.
That's how I feel.
I feel the same way. I'm going with Bud. I don't watch boxing as much as everybody else does. I mean, I do keep up with all the bigger names, but I've seen damn near all the Bud fights, and I mean, we've seen him get hurt before, and the way he responded. And his last couple
motherfucker out.
Yeah, like his last couple opponents, he knocked them out. And I mean, they both fought Sean Porter. We saw what the type of fight Errol Spence got into, the type of fight Errol Spence got drawn into with Sean Porter, and we saw what Bud Crawford was able to do with Sean Porter. And I mean, I definitely think I think Spence, like you said, I think he sets up his punches a lot better. But I think when it comes to like reflexes and speed and footwork, I think Bud has him beat in that department along with power. And I mean, you gotta, I think Bud does he takes more punches than he needs to, but at the same time, you gotta take some to give. You gotta take a couple to give a couple. And I think once Bud finds them openings, I'm not saying I'm not calling a knockout, but I got Bud edging this thing out, man.
Yeah, I definitely can see it going
The full 12.
12 rounds or maybe a flash TKO.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go on for Bud, but I just think Bud is just the stronger fighter.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see who has the better game plan. I can't wait.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I don't know if anybody else feel like this, but I honestly feel like we can thank Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia for this shit because not a lot of people really were wanting to fight any of the best fighters. The best fighters weren't trying to fight each other, and I think with Tank and Garcia, with them finally go ahead getting that bullshit out the way, I think it lit a fire under everybody's ass because everybody felt like, damn, if they not if they willing to put their undefeated record on the line, why the fuck we not? So
right.
Big ups to Tank and Ryan Garcia and I can't wait to see Bud Crawford and Errol Spence, man. Plain and simple.
Yep. Hell yeah. I mean, this is a dream come true.
Yeah.
Tell me how you feel about that Lomachenko Devin Haney fight.
Man, come on, bro. You know how the fuck I feel about that. Lomachenko got robbed. Plain and simple.
I'm sitting there watching this motherfucker like this nigga let him 3 or 4 pieces. Devin Haney hitting him with one good power punch.
Man, look, if you can watch the whole fight and the highlights, and I'm sorry if you don't think Lomachenko won that fight, you just a straight up Devin Haney. I'm not gonna say fanboy, but you are you having a very biased outlook on that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lomachenko was fucking him up.
I was in there like, what? Like I was confused. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, Devin Haney landed more power punches, but it's like Lomachenko landed more head punches, more body punches. His punches percentage was higher. His significant strikes was higher to me. So I mean, okay.
I mean, Haney might have landed more power punches, but from what I can see, Lomachenko's punches were having a much bigger effect on Haney than Haney's power punches were having on Lomachenko. From what I saw, there's a couple times he caught Haney with a 2-3 piece combo, and I thought he was about to get him the fuck up out of there. So I'm not a boxing judge, but my personal opinion, I feel like since Haney was the undefeated fighter, and there's numerous big fights available for him at his weight class. There is the Devontae fight. I think they're gonna do what they can to try to keep promoting him.
That's his only fight now, bro. Like this fight for me has killed Devin Haney's whole credibility.
His momentum.
Nobody's gonna want to buy a Devin Haney fight now unless they think the person he's fighting can knock him out.
Yeah,
and that's Tank. Yep. And I've said it on here before. I think Devin Haney can get Tank. I'm sorry for saying that after this performance. Maybe he had a bad training camp. Maybe he had an injury he didn't want to disclose. But he looked bad out there.
He did. He looked real bad. This was his worst fight. This was his worst fight.
He looked confused. I don't know if it was the trainer or his camp didn't have him prepared. But I have no idea. I just have no idea.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, man, I'm the Bud Crawford and Errol Spence fight. Extremely excited for. I can't wait. We've been waiting on this shit for like 3 years.
July 29th. July 29th.
Bring it down, bucket.
Yes,
bucket.
sir.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's gonna be a wrap for this week, man. Once again, to everybody that's tuning in, watching, we appreciate it. All the time and effort that we put into this. We, everybody that's tuning in, watching, we appreciate every bit of it, man. And until next week. Next week we will be covering. We'll probably knock out the NFC, the AFC South and the AFC South and probably the NFC East next week. Try to knock out 2 divisions if possible. If not, it would definitely be the AFC South next week. So just make sure y'all tune in. Make sure y'all go like, subscribe, share. Tell your friends about us, man. We got a lot of good content coming out. Leading up to football season. Y'all know that's our favorite time of year. So just be on the lookout, man.
Chill. You know what I'm saying, dog. We taking over.
We move.
We taking over.
Yeah, we try to we try to replace. I'm not gonna say replace Shannon Sharp because we'll never be Shannon Sharp. But with Shannon leaving undisputed, that leaves more room for us. You know what I'm saying? More people. Maybe more of y'all come watch us. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But as always, Ryan, man, it's been a pleasure doing. Love doing the podcast with you, bro. And until next week, my brother.
Yes, sir. Good hearing from you, dog.
Yes, sir.